In a small village nestled deep in the dark woods, there was an old, abandoned house known as the House of Shadows. Locals say it has many decades in history, and rumors tell of evil spirits roaming through it. There was a young man named Mark, curious by nature, who decided to enter the House of Shadows to see if the stories were true. The clock was about midnight, and the calm shrouding the forest made every sound scary. When Mark entered the house, he felt a cold atmosphere damage it, as if the night demons were watching him. The rooms were dark, the windows tightly closed, making the rooms look like dark graves. And in the corners, darkness creeps in, and Mark feels the walls breathing a hidden life. As Mark wandered inside the house, he heard strange noises coming from a darkened room upstairs. Those sounds were much like the sound of heavy steps advancing toward him. Mark swooped in toward the stairs, but felt something grabbing his shoulder firmly. Mark stopped and couldn't move. He could feel the extreme cold spreading through his body, as if an invisible hand stretched out from behind him. The sound of strange whispers creeping into his ear, fading and returning inconspicuously. As Mark stood in this creepy darkness, he watched shadows move in every direction around him. They would come from every angle, manipulating the darkness and writhing in the walls, as if the shadows took horrible shapes to terrorize his heart. Suddenly, the lights went out, and the house was plunged into complete darkness. Mark heard hysterical laughs and thunderous screams, but there was no one in the house, except him and the darkness surrounding him. Mark tried to run, but the more he tried to escape, the more shadows became involved and thickened around him. And in a moment of dismay, the lights suddenly returned. He found himself alone in the room he was in before the lights went out, without a trace of shadows or terrifying sounds. There was only the deep calm of the night. Mark walked out of the house, as if his heart wasn't still beating quietly. He didn't know if the shadows were real or were just a fantasy, inspired by his creepy imagination, but lived the rest of his life sure that the House of Shadows was disappearing into the darkness, waiting for curious adventurers to show them a side of the night's terrors.